You guys are really starting to take a hard look at the city budget. We have talked previous that we didn't lose any funding from the state, which is good, but how are we as a city with where we're at financially from your perspective?
Well, right now we're stable. Laramie's never been a very rich city in terms of that, but we're stable right now, which is great. We were really ecstatic to get continued funding again from the state. That means we're going to be able to keep those services where we need to be able to keep them for our public safety. And then we're really looking forward to the 6 penny and the 5th penny renewals to try to make sure that we're putting money back into our capital projects for streets and stormwater.
A lot of people want to know, okay, if I approve this coming up, and the 6 penny is first in August, and then the 5th penny will be on the ballot in November. We've covered that a couple different times, but a lot of people want to go, well, how does this guy, we're not paving streets, we don't have our own pavement thing, we don't have our own paving equipment, things like that, because you guys got to contract out. Is that ever going to become a reality at this point? I would say no, but is it going to be, is it something that you want to work towards in terms of something that the city kind of comes to fruition with at some point in time?
That's a great question, and it's been a while since I've asked the question. To do that kind of stuff in-house, for the city to take that over, would be a massive investment. And I'm sure it's something that we need to periodically check in and see if that financially makes sense. The last time that I asked that question, it just didn't financially make sense because the equipment investment is so large. But we also were not putting a tremendous amount of money into streets. Now with the 6 penny coming up, I think that's a legitimate question to ask again, because really the 6 penny ballot in August, the majority of that money is for streets, and we're hoping to put in a pretty large investment.
Well, and it's one of those situations where we often talk about streets in West Laramie. That is the biggest question I'm sure that you guys face on the council. The fact that when, if ever, are the streets going to be paved in West Laramie? I got to ask you, would that affect property values if the streets do get paved over there?
That's a great question, and we don't have a good precise answer on that. The general feeling is that yes, it might affect property values up there, make them go up a little bit. Of course, streets and good drainage and sidewalks is a pretty important amenity to have for a house these days. So we think there might be a little bit of improvement, but the city is going to try to tackle that policy. The council is going to take that on over the next few months to really look at how can we pave the streets in West Laramie? What is the cost? Who should pay for that? Should it be the property owners that are out there specifically? Should the city pick up the bill? Is there some kind of partnership, which I think is probably more likely in the long term? How can we supplement those funds? Because we know the work needs to be done out there. Everybody talks about pavement, but really the drainage situation in West Laramie really has to be addressed. If you drive out there after the snow melts or after we get a good thunderstorm in the next few weeks, you will just see standing water that stays for days, and that's not really what we want our community to look like. So.
And I know that you've done a few projects over there, but it's not taking the whole situation and remedying it. Right. Excuse me for hitting the mic there, folks. But so that's something that you want to take care of everything, kind of gradually. It's not going to happen overnight, obviously.
Right. My ideal plan would be a longer term plan. Is it a 10-year plan to really address everything we need to do in West Laramie? Is it a 15-year plan? What does that need to look like? But my feeling is we need to put something in motion to actually address and permanently fix this problem. We've kind of put some duct tape on and done a few patchwork projects here and there. We really need to get the pavement in around Linford schools, and that was a really important improvement, but you can just see the effect. The kids can walk down the sidewalk in West Laramie until the pavement ends, and then they're back in the street. And so you really need to see where that needs to continue. So we need a long-term solution, and hopefully if the voters approve the ballot in August, that'll give us a little bit of capital to work with to potentially come to a policy decision on how we can do that.
All right, so 6 penny is coming up in August, and that's for kind of the streets. And just a reminder, we've covered this a couple times. These are not new. This is just kind of maintaining where we're at present time.
Yep, absolutely. This is not a new tax. This is just simply renewing and maintaining the status quo for what we have. What is different this time is in the last 6 penny that was approved, we primarily used it to replace water lines, a lot of sewer work. We were trying to get a hold of some long-term maintenance things that have been deferred and were really causing a lot of breaks and a lot of headaches. That investment has paid off for the city. We've seen the number of water line breaks go down significantly. People are experiencing a lot less disruption, so that's wonderful. So this time, because those systems are in a lot better shape, we don't need to put the money in there. We're doing well. We're kind of back on track there. So we're, for the first time, going to put money into streets and stormwater. And then there is a little bit of money on there for park maintenance. We've got a lot of deferred maintenance in the parks, bathrooms, shelters, stuff that haven't been touched in 60, 70 years.
Okay.
We have some parks that don't even have sidewalks. You know, we need to address some of that stuff. And then there's some stuff that we constantly hear about. Trails, finishing greenbelt connections, that kind of stuff. There's also a fire training facility on there, which we think is really important for our firefighters to be able to train locally and hopefully use that as a regional training center so we can pull in other fire departments to train here. Make some revenue off that.
Yeah, I was
right?
going to say that's additional money.
Absolutely, that's the idea. You know, it'll be a $3 million investment up front, but hopefully we will make that back.
And then the fifth penny is coming up in November. That is actually paying for some of your services, ladies and gentlemen, your fire, your rescue with ambulance and things like that, correct?
Absolutely. Fifth penny pays for public safety, fire and police. And then the big other piece of the fifth penny is our community partners program. The city partners with a number of agencies. I think we had 32 applicants last cycle in March to get that money out, and these are the Downtown Clinic, Interfaith Good Samaritan. There's a lot of really great programs that are providing critical services here in the community that might fall on the city if those organizations didn't exist. So my feeling is we really want to continue to strongly support them and support their operations and support what they're doing, and we need the fifth penny to do that.
And that's coming up on the November ballot, ladies and gentlemen. So it is a little bit backwards, but remember, 6th in August, 5th in November ballot. It's not new, it's just maintaining kind of the status quo at right now. All right, again, we're visiting with Mayor Andrea Summerville here on Mondays with the Mayor Series. Let me live on KUWB on this Monday, May 7th. We were talking about the budget, and I wanted to kind of just refresh everybody. And I'm going to consistently refresh this about the penny taxes that are coming up each month because I think it's important to talk about. But what else? Any other major things coming up as you guys work on the budget right now and what you're kind of focusing on?
You know, I think we're really just so we've had to make some reductions over the last few years with the decline in state funding and kind of the drop in the economy in Wyoming. The good news is that we've taken those steps and hopefully we've stabilized. And I think that as we discuss this budget, that will come out. So we're really going to be looking at, do we have the right investments in the right places? Is there things that we can shift around or move around? But a lot of the discussions will also be, okay, what if the voters don't approve the 6th penny? What if the voters don't approve the 5th penny? What does that look like? So we'll be discussing that as well.